Hey everyone, how's it going today? And welcome to another brand new episode. So as the title suggests, is that in today's episode, I really want to make an episode dedicated to anyone that happens to either still be unemployed right now at this time, or maybe happens to be employed but is preparing for a potential job loss coming soon. This is actually especially true right now because there are so many things that are happening inside of our world, and not necessarily particularly great things either. And I definitely relate to a lot of it, so I definitely feel it with you guys right there as well. Everything from such as like the tech layoffs that have been happening, to things such as like the entertainment strikes with like writers and actors, to things such as like even just the upcoming recession that's potentially expected to come now relatively soon. There's going to potentially be a lot of job losses and layoffs that are going to be happening. So today's update, what I really want to do is talk and dedicate this to anyone that happens to be in those particular shoes. Really talking about 5 things that I did when I was unemployed, or that I did, when I was experiencing a job loss, to really be able to stay sane. Some of this stuff is going to be related to the actual job hunting process to help you guys survive that, and others is really going to just be about personal health. Things such as like staying sane during a time period where you might find yourself at home with either nothing to do, or you're just, struggling with things like physical, mental health, or anything like that. And these are just some tips and advice that I figured I'd really want to share in today's video. So with that being said, let's get this video started just right on the spot. But you guys know the same exact drill. If you guys enjoy videos like this, to share support, remember to smash the like button, feel free to leave a comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and with that being said, let's get this video rolling and started. So the first thing that you really want to do when it comes to surviving unemployment and being able to get through, that I highly recommend, this one's a little bit more obvious, but the next ones I promise will not be as obvious, but it's still important to share this, is that you want to really spend your time focusing on updating everything related to the job hunting process and the resources that you use. So this really could technically be many bullet points, but we're going to lump it together for the sake of efficiency into one bullet point. But it's really about things such as like updating your resume, updating your cover letter, and all of the job resources, organizing your job applications and everything like that, and really getting it together. Which goes on to probably the next thing, is that in order to really power up your resume, this is something that's much more industry specific, but I would say that across the majority of industries you can definitely do this, and this is really about trying to create a potential website for yourself. So this is especially true if you happen to be working in anything in the creative industry, but I'd even go to extend this to things such as like tech. You can create a website. There's a really great website called Squarespace, which helps you to create websites. This video is not sponsored by them, although it really should be, and hopefully maybe they'll see this and sponsored or something like that. But right now at this time, it's not being sponsored by them. So this is genuinely a website that I've personally used, and it's been an incredible resource in order to create my own personal website. But you really want to spend some time creating a website in order to build a portfolio of some kind of work that you can potentially demonstrate to employers, especially if you happen to work in the creative industry. But even off of non-creative jobs, you can still do this, such as like if you work in tech, you can create coding projects, you can create software that you've maybe made in the past. Obviously in the arts, you can create like a portfolio of photographs, videos, artwork, I don't know, designs, if you want to go into UI, UX, everything in that particular world. But at the very least, what you can potentially do is at the very least, is to at least make a LinkedIn profile and a LinkedIn page. And this is something that I think regardless of your industry, even if you're from an industry like for me, I happen to work in the arts, and most of us, we do not use LinkedIn. But at the end of the day, it can still be a really great resource because you can actually link people to your LinkedIn. And then once on LinkedIn, they can see all of your experiences and everything that you can type out. And it's just a really wonderful way to be able to potentially network with employers and find other jobs. So the big idea really behind the second bullet point is really to either create a website with all of the work that you can demonstrate, or at the very least, to create or update a LinkedIn profile. And I think that's probably the second big thing that's important to share. Now, the third thing that you can potentially really work on is really to be able to potentially learn a skill. This is something that's more about surviving unemployment, and not just surviving and improving the job hunting process, but also just remaining sane, is that I think it's really, really important to try to grow as a person. And one of the ways is to learn a skill. Now, in terms of what skill or how this is going to be relevant, the best way to really do this is you want to try to find a job off of a job board, whether this is Indeed, Monster, LinkedIn, and just read the job description and see what are the skills in your particular dream job that you maybe want to apply for, but you don't necessarily have the skill set for that right now, and then maybe spend your time learning that particular skill set. Especially today, because there are so many different resources to look up and learn different skills, such as like through Skillshare, Udemy. Again, this video is not sponsored by them. This is just a video that of resources that I have actually physically used from personal experience that have really helped out. You can use resources like that. You can take courses. I'd be a little bit careful because there's a lot of interesting courses that people say are not up to par out there, but nonetheless, you can definitely at the very least use Reddit. YouTube has a lot of great resources. Google, obviously, because Google's the biggest search engine in the world. So these are just a couple of things. You can try to look at the job descriptions, find the skills that you don't have, and then use this as a guide to learn the skills needed to perform those particular jobs, so that now you can be prepared to maybe take your career to the next level whenever you hopefully are able to find that job relatively soon, or at the very least to improve your odds and chances. Now, the fourth tip is really going to be much more related to improving your sanity when you're unemployed. So less about the job hunting process, but more about staying focused in productivity. And it's really to try to create a routine. One of the biggest things about unemployment that can be really, really difficult, and again, I totally feel it there because I was unemployed for the better part of a year. I did make a video talking about my experiences being unemployed for a year, so highly recommend maybe checking that out if it's just something of interest. I'll put a video at the very, very end screen. You can watch it after this. But the big idea is that during my 1 year of unemployment, one of the most important things that you can do is to just try to create some kind of routine and write down your schedule every single day. Try to wake up at the same time every day. Try to, block out a certain amount of hours you're going to use for the job hunting process. Remember to try to balance your life with other things such as like exercise, eating, healthy lifestyles, just productivity, everything like that. And I think when you're able to build a routine of some kind, things become a lot more natural and a lot more easier, even though it's difficult to build a routine in the beginning. But once you build your routine, it becomes a lot easier to stay focused and productive as you're surviving your unemployment phase. And I think that's probably the next thing to really be able to share. And then the final thing really to be able to share about trying to survive unemployment, which once again goes into improving your sanity, but I can see this as something that actually is going to improve your job hunting process as well. And it's really to improve your social life. This one is a little bit more interesting, so definitely hear me out about this one. But it's really because when you are unemployed, one of the biggest things is I think a lot of times it can feel very trapping because you're stuck at home all day, you're figuring out how to survive unemployment, you don't really have a routine, which is going on to point number 4 about why it's so important to build a routine. But in many cases, you might also not have the most vibrant social life because you're not really going outside and doing much, right? So I think it's really, really important to try to improve and work on your social life when you're unemployed, because first off is that it's going to keep you sane. It's going to improve your physical and your mental health by having people to talk to and kind of, be able to exchange conversation with. And also because one of the biggest things that I talk a lot about on my channel, which definitely consider subscribing, huge thanks if you guys have already, if you guys have watched and you're still, here with me. But the big idea is one of the things that we talk a lot on this channel is about how important it is to network. And because when you're improving your social life in a lot of ways, especially if you're improving it with the right people, you're also networking in that particular sense. And by networking, you never know who you're gonna run into, and you never know who you're gonna end up talking to. It's very possible you maybe talk to people that are employed, but no employers at a particular company. Maybe they're working a particular job, and it's an incredible way to learn about job opportunities out there that you might not even know that exist. You might learn about jobs that are actually physically hiring. You might run into an actual hiring manager for all we know. And the big idea is that through meeting people out there, you're potentially also networking your way to improve your odds that, you can potentially now land a job even quicker than whatever you're going through right now. I think that that's probably the last thing to really take away from this particular video. So the big idea really is just to work on your resume, work on your, job applications, but again, also beyond just the actual job hunting process, remember to take some breaks. Remember to focus on things like your social life, your routine, your health, your physical and mental health, because it can be very difficult. It was definitely very difficult for me during that time period when I was unemployed for the better part of a little bit over a year. And these are just some tips I figured I would share if you happen to be unemployed or you're preparing for a potential layoff that's coming soon. But as always, that's really what I wanted to share in today's video. So if you guys made it to the end, and haven't done so, remember to smash the like button, subscribe, hit the bell. Feel free to leave a comment about what it's like, where you guys are currently at. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, stay safe, stay well, try to stay employed. But if anything, best of luck getting through, because it can be really, really difficult. And hope to see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much again.